Good morning. Good morning. And as you get here, let me know that you're here. Let me go and go live in the different places. There we go. And where is the other one? Beautiful. All right. So let's see if I'm live in all the places I'm supposed to be live. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So let me pull this up over here. I was watching a YouTube and I almost lost track of time. Let me get back to where I'm at. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Make sure you let me know that you're here. When you get here, say hello in the comments and we'll get started in just a minute. I'm just going to give a few people. Oh, I almost forgot. I needed to add one thing on here. There we go. And give everybody the opportunity to see that I'm live. It's an amazingly beautiful day. I've been so distracted on different things on YouTube this morning. It's so funny. I don't even have a dog anymore. He passed away a few years ago, and I was watching dog training videos. What's that about? It's kind of funny. But maybe I'm just getting prepared for getting one. I have cats, but I don't have a dog anymore. But I love dogs. They're so sweet. Not to say that my cats are not sweet, but they're a little bit different. Now I have one cat. I don't know if you guys have cats or dogs, but I have one cat that she will follow me around a little bit, but they're still a little bit like you go to pet them and it's like, I don't think so. And they'll, run off. Whereas a dog, it's like they're just tail wagging and they want you to pet them. They want to be right there with you, hang in your lap and do all that stuff. And sometimes I kind of miss that. But like I said, my dog passed away a few years ago, and he was, I felt like the perfect dog. He was so sweet, and he didn't destroy things. And not to say he wasn't kind of crazy when we first got him, because he was a pup, and we did have some training done with him. But he was just like my companion, my baby. And when he got old and he passed away, I kind of felt like every time I would go to look at dogs and stuff, I think, oh, they're so cute. But in my mind, I was comparing them to him. And I thought that's unfair. It's like someone who loses a spouse and then wants to get remarried. And once they do, they're constantly saying, well, you're nothing like my, my deceased husband. You're nothing like, and that's not fair either. And so I knew that was how I felt at the time. And it was like, it's not fair to them and it's not fair to me. So I'm not even going there. So like I said, I have cats and no dog right now. Not to say I won't. So I see there's a couple of people that are watching. I don't know where they are coming from. It is so strange now with where am I at? The way StreamYard and Zoom and all these places are doing things, and I think it's mostly because Facebook changed everything, but it's been quite unique figuring out the different nuances of how to do this. And I do miss that everything would show up in the comments on my StreamYard, and now it doesn't. I have to get the phone out and do all those, but it's doable. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste and get this affirmation and journal prompt up. So hold on just a second. All right. And so we're still going with the theme of the month is that we are writing our story of our life, or we're playing the game of life. And so it's interesting when you're looking at life that way, and it puts you you've got the controller, you've got the pen, right? And so we're staying with that theme, and our Affirmation today is I navigate the game of life with a spirit of curiosity and a heart full of hope. Good morning, Wendy. And I will say that because we're talking about the game of life, that it's like the game is so similar as we're playing every day with our game controller, right? Or our pen for writing the story. And so every now and then I create another one. I think, wait a minute, what did I have yesterday? But I figure whatever we need is what shows up, right? And so here we are today. I navigate the game of life with a spirit of curiosity and a heart full of hope. And what that really means to me, now you can let me know what it means to you, is that as I'm going through my day and things come up, and let's just face it, we are things are always coming up. Not always bad things. Sometimes it's good things, right? And sometimes it's like, but there are things that come up all the time. And it's looking at them with curiosity, with even if it's something that's amazing that comes up, it's like, what is this? What am I supposed to learn from this too? Because everything that happens is a learning opportunity for us, right? And so it's kind of like if you've been a gamer, which I have not, but I know a little bit about them because my daughter's been a gamer, right? But you can get books, you can get different things that'll tell you the little tips and the tricks about how to get around certain things in the games to get further along, right? Um, and so when you learn those things, then you're able to sail through the game a lot easier, right? And so if you look at it in a writing perspective, when you're a writer, you can have books, tips and tricks from having a coach, or like I have a book that's called, hold on, let me look and see, The Emotion Thesaurus. And so what that does as a writer, that helps me to describe emotions in my stories in a more effective way, right? So when we're looking at what's going on around us, even whether it's good, it's bad, or whatever, what is it teaching me? It's because that is giving us the 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 codes, the whatever to effectively play the game better, right? Or to write better copy when we're writing our story of our life. So it's diving into each thing, the good, the bad, the indifferent, right? Whatever's going on, where's the lesson and what can I take from it? And that puts you in such a juicy, delicious place of every day finding a nuance about life that is beautiful, that you can take away and put it in your heart, put it in your life. And you can, once you see something, you can repeat it, right? And so if something happens that's not so great, and you look at what happened, what is the lesson that came from that? And then as you take that lesson, then you're able to use that lesson to affect what happens next, right? Because I'm a firm believer, and I know a lot of people are, that we have lessons and all that we're supposed to learn in our lives anyway, right? And if something happens and we don't extract the lesson from it, then we'll keep repeating it until we do. So, I've heard this from a lot of different people, but I like to say that God, the universe, gives us a little whisper of the direction we need to take. And if we're not listening to it, then it becomes a little bit louder, a little bit louder. It becomes a shout. And then after a while, if you're not listening, it becomes a baseball bat. And that's when you have the accident. That's when you get a diagnosis that's not good. So that's when those things happen. So wouldn't it be prudent and beautiful if you could catch things when it's a whisper, right? And you get the lesson from it and you apply that in your life. So then life has this flow to it that just feels good. I like to say life is a symphony of musical notes that kind of flow in and out, right? And sometimes we had an off note and then we correct and we say, oh, that note didn't fit in there very well. Let's do this again. And then we keep going and we learn over time when things are flowing, how that feels. And we just keep recreating that. And I don't know, does that make sense to everybody? I see I've got a few people here. Thank you, Wendy, for saying good morning. And, does that make sense to you? We we are all the time, emitting this energy about us. And so I look at it, it's like a visual to me of, this vibration that's coming off of us. And they're all music, everything has a vibration, right? But music, especially, each note has a particular vibration, right? So I see when I'm moving about my day, and this is just what excites me, right? And I'm not a musician, so I don't know why this is so exciting to me. I'm not a musician. I don't play a musical instrument. I sing great in a crowd, so I'm good in an orchestra, but do I feel competent to sing on my own? No. However, what feels good to me is as I'm walking through my day, I envision like a cartoon, right, of me. And there's constantly these musical notes that are coming off of me as I'm going through my day. And they're playing little notes, little vibration tunes. And in my mind, I can hear this symphony of sound and how everything just kind of flows together. And sometimes I can even depict, ooh, that one was a flute. Ooh, that one was a cello. I don't know why that is impressive to me, but it makes me feel joyful. And maybe it's because listening to music is joyful, right? And what can take you back to a time in your life better than something that's musical, right? I mean, we hear it's one of the things that's interesting is I can hear a song over and over and over again and love it. Then watch a movie where they use that song in this movie. And then from that point on, as soon as I hear that song, I know my mind goes to that movie. And it's the same if you're the first time you met the love of your life and there was a song playing, right? What happens later on, years down the road, you may not even know that person anymore. But what happens when that song comes on? It takes you right back to that moment. And the same goes with things that are not so good, right? We can go back and musically to things that when something bad happened and we had a song playing, right? And so it's like music just takes us to memories. It takes us to places in our life, forgotten places sometimes. Luckily, it is more likely that the music is taking you back to a joyful time in your life. And, one of my favorite books is by Michael Singer, and it is called The Untethered Soul. If you have not read that book, you definitely need to read that book because it is amazing about our inner voice, our dialogue that we talk to each other about, or ourselves about. We say things to ourselves that we would never to say to anybody else, right? And he talks about so much about how certain things trigger us to go back into a memory. And most of the time, we're not even aware of it. And it's the same with music. We can go back to an emotion, we can go back to a time in our lives, right? And so maybe that's why I like to look at my vibration as a musical note. I don't know, and I don't know if that is something that works for you, but like this month is the game of life and how to play it, and it's writing the story of your life. And you can have those musical notes threaded through it because think about it. Every game that's out there, it's not silence, right? It is different things going in there. There's usually some kind of music. So if it's a game about the little characters bopping around and stuff, there's a little music goes with that, right? And then if it's a game where there is some treachery about, there's that kind of music. So there's music in everything, right? And so what kind of music is playing in your mind right now? as you think about this, I navigate the game of life with a spirit of curiosity and a heart full of hope. And oh my goodness, who would not love to have a heart full of hope, right? So I would love for you to utilize this today and write it on your sticky note, your index cards, put it as a screensaver on your phone. Write it on your mirror with a chalk marker. That's what I do most of the time. And then I also put it on index cards. And one of the things I like to do, if I know I'm going to be traveling in the car, a lot of times I will take the index cards and I'll make two of them, and I'll put one on one side of the visor and one on the other side of the visor. And now, since I work from home, I'm not traveling that much, so I'm not doing that as much as I had before. But that way, whether you're having to put the visor down to get the sun out of your eyes, you've still got your affirmation there. And when you pop it up, you've got your affirmation there, so that you can, as you stop at a stop sign or you stop at a traffic light, you can just breathe and look at your affirmation, right? It's powerful, powerful stuff. And by doing this every single day, you can change your life. Like last month, we had the month of magic. And so we looked at, by doing that every single day and focusing on magic, how much difference would that make in your life? And there were a lot of people that shared, the different magical things that were happening for them, showing up for them all month long, right? Because what we focus on is what we create. So if we're looking for things that are magical, if we're looking for a joyous musical day, if we're looking for a way for things to show up and teach us and help us have the spirit of curiosity and a heart full of hope, if we're looking for that, we'll find it. Now, if we're looking for how things can go wrong, we'll find that too. So you get to decide where your focus is. Right? It's all a decision that you make every single day. And so that's one of the reasons why I think it's important to write this stuff down. And there's another reason too, is like, there are some people in the group that have a journal that is just for these morning affirmations and journal prompts that we share in the group. And then some people just have like a notebook that they put it in, a spiral bound notebook or something like that, right? And it's important to put the date there, put the affirmation in the journal prompt, because we change 1% every single day. And that creates exponential growth, right? But it's a growth over time that you cannot decipher in the moment. So today you write this stuff out, and we're going to get to the journal prompt in just a moment. But when you write down the affirmation, you put the date, and then you write down the journal prompt under it, and you brain dump whatever comes up for you, then the lesson, the strength that you bring out of that becomes part of who you are, your new normal, right? And then the next day you do the same thing, and the next day you do the same thing, right? So over time, you've changed and changed and changed, but it was so imperceptible that when you get 6 months down the road, it's all so normal to you that you don't remember how far you've come. And so I like to say it's a measuring stick that we can use. So today, if you haven't done this yet, and start today. When is the best day to start doing something to change your life? It was yesterday, but the next best day is today, because this is what you can control today, right? So start today if you haven't done it already. Writing out your affirmations and your journal prompts in a notebook. Put the date on there. And then just keep doing that day after day after day. And then as you save those notebooks and you come back and you look at what your thoughts were, what was coming up for you, oh my gosh, you will be so blown away. And the reason that I bring this up is because, and I refer to this quite often, because I started this journey because I had such a problem with my weight and dieting, right? And as I changed me and started dropping and releasing weight over time, I forgot how far I'd come. Now, I knew I was really fat. I knew that I was miserable being fat, and that I couldn't hardly even walk from one mailbox to the other. right? I just didn't have the stamina to do it. And that today, that's not me. But sometimes I would start thinking, oh, I've still got so much that I want to change, right? And so in doing that, somebody asked me, because I was sharing some of this stuff, they asked me, well, how far have you come? And I thought, well, wait a minute, let me look. And I went and found one of the pictures from when I was on a cruise, and I thought I was looking damn good. And I didn't even recognize myself. And so the interesting thing is that if we don't have something to look at, like I had that picture that I could see, and I knew that was me, even though I didn't connect with that person anymore, right? But I knew that was me because I was standing with my uncle and my aunt and my mom and my sister, right? And it was like I looked at that picture and I didn't even recognize myself, right? Good morning, Jean. So good to have you here. And so that's why it's important. If I didn't have that picture to go back and look at, I could discredit how far I've come. I could be chastising myself because I wasn't where I wanted to go yet, right? Wasn't where I wanted to be yet. But if you take and you can have something that you recognize the journey, right? Not only is that good for you to be able to see your journey, but then if for some reason somebody asks you, wow, how far have you come? And it may not be a weight thing. Maybe it's your business. Maybe, you started with nothing and then you've got a business. And that doesn't mean it's $1 million business, and it may be, but you've got a business that's helping people. You've got a business that people want to come and take part of, right? But if you didn't log the things along the way and there was actually no evidence whatsoever of where you started, you might start thinking about how you still have so far to go. And sometimes it's nice to be able to look and see what the journey was. And so then you're going through this game of life with curiosity and a heart full of hope. Right. All right. So now let's get, whoops, where did it go? Hold on. Let me see if I can find my journal prompt. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. So now our journal prompt is, what new experiences or opportunities can you explore this week? And how do they align with your long-term goals? So, your long-term goal, maybe that you want to be healthy. Maybe your long-term goal is that you want to affect 10,000 people's lives. I don't know what your long-term goal is. Only you do. And the thing is that sometimes I think we can get stuck in the not being there yet, right? And so that's what's good about this, is that you can look at the new experiences that you're having, because we're navigating the game of life, remember, with a spirit of curiosity and a heart full of hope. And when you're looking at things that are happening in your life with that lens, then you can really see that those new experiences or opportunities that you have, you can look at them this week and just, we're only on, what are we on? Tuesday. So you've got the whole week that you can be looking at, or you can look back at last week. But let's look at this week, because if you will take the time to write this down and to fill out the information, right? So we're already on Tuesday. So you can look at what has happened with you yesterday that was an opportunity or an experience that could have helped you to align with your long-term goals. Just look, what were the lessons that you learned yesterday, right? And I will share that one of my lessons that I learned yesterday was that as much as I want to, I have this writing goal, right? And one of the goals has absolutely zero to do with my book, but more about getting my creativity out onto the page. And so I have these prompts that I'm writing about every single day. And yesterday I didn't do it. And why did I not do it? Because I got busy over here and busy over there, and I got distracted with something on the computer, and I took a couple of classes, and I decided I needed to work on some of the podcast that I had recorded, and I hadn't got them out yet. And so I was doing emails, and I was doing all these things, and I even went and sat and watched just a little bit of American Idol. So you see, I was busy all day long. But could I have taken the time to sit and, good morning, Terry. Could I have taken the time to sit and do my writing? Yes, I could have. I just didn't. And so, what that helped me to see is that if I have a goal, my long term goal is to write my book, right? It's one of my goals. And if one of the things that I have chosen, I've decided that I'm going to do every day to help me be in that creative space is to use these prompts, not these journal prompts, but some writing prompts, and write with them every day, right? Just to get my creativity flowing, get some ideas out there and everything. And I didn't do it. So then I look at, what was that teaching me? What did I learn from that? And I learned that, no matter what we're doing, we can all fall prey to this, right? And it's okay to not be on task all the time, right? But I wasted time that I would have enjoyed when I was writing, right? Because I have a good time when I'm doing this and using these prompts and discovering a little bit about me and my writing style and all of that, right? So I would have enjoyed it. But however, I didn't do it. And so that's some of the reflection that I'm going to be doing today, right? Is what happened yesterday if the reason I didn't write. So that was not necessarily a new experience, but a new reflection on an experience, right? And so there may be something that happens reoccurring in your life. You decided that you want to be healthy, and yet you still find yourself standing in front of the refrigerator munching. You still find yourself maybe calling and getting an Uber delivery, an Uber Eats delivery or something, a food that you are craving, but it goes against what you feel are your health goals. And there's reasons for all of that stuff. And it's diving into what is the underlying reason behind why I do some of the things that I do, right? And because there's always a reason, because everything we do is a choice. There is nothing that happens externally that we didn't make a choice in there somewhere. And the choice can come from, this happened, now what? This happened, what did I learn? So regardless of what's going on around you, extract the lesson, the learning from it, so that you can have an even more amazing life than you do now. And so, like I said, I don't know completely why I made those choices yesterday. That's why I'm going to be working with this journal prompt today, right? To discover what it is, so that as I uncover the reason behind it, I can say, all right, so does that mean that this is really what I want to do, this writing thing? Or maybe it's a distraction from something else. I'm going to be really diving into some of this stuff for me. And so I invite you to use these affirmations in these journal prompts to not just surfacely say, okay, and you start writing. Get in touch with what's going on in here, who you are, and what your heart says, right? Getting in touch with you. And so one of the things that I do before I get to my journal prompt, where we are on time. Okay. I have a client this morning I've got to get to. But one of the things is that get in silence, because we have so much noise and clutter going on in our heads, from the computer, from a class we've done. From listening to YouTube to listening to our chatter about what we've done wrong or haven't done or whatever, right? All this stuff goes on all the time. And like I said, if you haven't read the Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul, that really fills you in a lot about our inner dialogue. And so I like to get into silence. And silence doesn't mean, hold on, I've got a hair on my eyelash or something. I can feel it. Maybe on my head, for all I know. But the thing is getting in silence doesn't mean there's no sound and there's no thoughts, right? You can't just delete all that stuff. It doesn't happen. Maybe some kind of major monk might be able to quiet all the noise, but typically we can't. And it's definitely an exercise that you have to continuously do to be able to even get near that. But what I like to do is set a timer. So sometimes I'll set a timer for 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. I've set one for an hour before. And if I can really get into it, then I can last that hour, but sometimes not. So I'm not perfect by any means. And I will share that with you just in case you were thinking, I think I'm perfect. No. But the thing is that as I set that timer, I make a decision that I'm going to do everything I can to get into the now, into this moment. And so the things that help me, and maybe this will help you, is that I listen to what's going on in my environment and I label it. And I know some of you that have been around for a while, you've heard me say this before. So it's like, old news. But, it's still wonderful things to help, right? If you're struggling with, getting in the moment and getting quiet so that you can reflect on these things. So like right now, as I'm sitting here, I can hear the hum of my computer. I can hear the ceiling fan and I can hear the breeze and I can still hear my chimes from downstairs. I'm listening to see what else I can hear. That's all I can really hear right here, right now in this moment, right? So I invite you to take just a second. Close your eyes and tell me, what can you hear where you are? And you can add that. If you're still here, guys, you can add that into the comments. What do you hear? What is at least, I still have this hair on my eye or something. So what is it that you can hear in your space? Trying to think, what do I hear? What else do I hear? See, if I had my earphones on, I would hear something more, or something different because it takes me away from some of the environment stuff here and more onto the computer, right? So as you sit there and you start labeling things, it kind of gets you out of that headspace of, what am I having for lunch? What am I having for breakfast? What do I need to do next? And when I get finished with this, what am I going to do? Because that's typically what we end up doing when we try to take a moment for just quiet reflection, right? And that's okay. And like I said, it's a process that you learn and you grow in. And so as you're labeling things and you get kind of quiet, you can ask yourself, what new experiences or opportunities have happened or can I explore this week? And just think about it and brain dump, right? Write down whatever comes up for you. And like I said, I was reflecting on yesterday, what came up. Now, what experiences and opportunities am I going to explore this week? Well, I'm sure from just this reflection for yesterday is I'm going to explore a little bit more about how I can sit with my notebook and my prompts, my writing prompts, and just explore those with fun and curiosity, right? And even if I haven't done it during the day and I get to the end of the day and I realize I haven't done that yet, I will challenge myself to go ahead and get that notebook and spend just a few moments to go through. And it was very eye-opening when I was doing it the other day. And I had gone to a coffee shop and was sitting and would close my eyes and listen to the chatter and the different sounds that I would hear. And there was a little bit of a festival going on not too far away. And I could hear children just chattering, and it made me smile, so that as I was doing my prompts and everything, I was coming from it from this joyful place. And it was really fun to dive in and explore a little bit about my heart and my thoughts, right? And so, what new experiences or opportunities can you explore this week? Just think on it, right? And so, for those that are watching or listening from these other platforms, I don't even know. I can't, it's hard for me to tell if anybody's there anymore, the way things are. However, if you're here and you're not in the Make Lasting Change group, then and it seems like a good place for you to be, then definitely oh, I'm looking for, where's my note here? I want to make sure that I talk about today's guest that will be tonight, right? Today's Tuesday. Yeah, yeah. All right. So, but if you're wanting to be part of Make Lasting Change group, go to vickypoole.com, VICKIEPOOLE.com, answer the prompts, and then be part of the group. But tonight, I almost forgot. Oh, this is so important. Tonight, Katie Lane Day, and I connected with her yesterday again, so she's definitely going to be here 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and she's going to be talking about learning to write your story. And she's going to help me, as I've told her that I'm in the middle of writing this book, but I keep resisting certain things, right? Um, and so we're going to be talking about so much. And then she has said that she will be open to answering questions. And so I'm so excited to share her with you. I had her on my podcast, and oh, it was like, this is what I need. Maybe this is what everybody else needs too. And she's got such an amazing presence about her too. So you'll definitely enjoy the conversation with her, and be there. Tell other people, be there, so that there's more people to chat with, ask her questions, and just get some of your questions answered. If you're a person that is thinking about writing a book of any kind, whether that's just a book about you for you, it doesn't mean that you're wanting to get it published. Maybe that's not you, but maybe it is. So if it is, be there tonight, 6:30. What is that, right? 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time in the group, and it's going to be on StreamYard into the group, and you can actually be on StreamYard with us. And so it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. And then, like I said, I've got another surprise guest that's coming up this month, and I'm trying to get all of that delicious information solidified. And I'm also working on some for next month. And it's just the things that you have written in your answer to the questions and stuff when you join the group. I'm utilizing some of that to decide who's the next person to come in. Good morning, Raina. So it's beautiful, and make sure you're there tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern for Katie Lane Day, as she shares how to write and discover your story, right? And so I'm very excited, and I would love for you guys to support her, because the more we show up for these guests, the more guests that are going to be more open to showing up and sharing forward with you guys, right? And I had a really quick, I'm getting close to time, I got to go. But really quick, I had a guest yesterday that has wrote a book that was very instrumental as I was going through my health coaching journal journey that was very, very helpful for me. And I'm talking to her about coming and sharing into the group as well. So, oh, some amazing things coming up. You want to be there. All right. So, gotta go. I have a client in just a moment, and you have an amazingly beautiful musical day. And you have to go back to watch the beginning to understand why I'm talking about it being a musical day. But you be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time and with a new journal prompt. And make sure, thank you, Wendy. Make sure to be there tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be here. Katie Lane Day is going to be here. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying her whole name or not. I just say Vicky for me, but I'm just trying to be respectful. I don't know. Maybe she's just Katie. We shall see. So you be here tonight. You'll be so glad you did. And I'll see you later. Mwah.